everyone. I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra. Thank you so much for joining. Today, my guest is Ambassador Dyaneshwar Mulay. Namaste.
Namaste. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Ambassador Dyaneshwar Mulay is a career diplomat. He served as the Consul General of India in New York some years ago, and that was the time I had the privilege of meeting up with him and knowing him very well. And he also was the Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. Currently, Ambassador Mulay serves on the Human Rights Commission of India. The ranking is on par with the Supreme Court Justice of India. Thank you so much, Ambassador Mulay, for joining me. This time online, we used to always meet up in New York. Let's first talk about your role in the Human Rights Commission.
As you know, India has been a very active participant in the international conversations on human rights. For example, you must have heard about Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. Two Indian women, Hansa Mehta, and Lakshmi Menon, played a very important role in that conference in 1948. And what was that contribution? They were instrumental in shifting the word mankind and added in place humankind. So in one word, they ensured that everybody is included. And Lakshmi Menon also saw to it that the document is gender neutral. Otherwise, the normal tradition was always to use the adjective he. So, the word person was added wherever possible, so that he, she, it, the distinction, was not maintained in the original document. In 1993, other milestone, but prior to that, India's independence, 1947, and in our constitution, which was promulgated in 1950, we made every provision so that freedom, equality, and justice could be enshrined. Then in 1993, we had a special act, for the human rights protection in India. And since then, this is a very high-level body, generally led by a former Supreme Court Justice, and other members who are in the rank of Supreme Court Justice. They are part of this commission. And the main duty is to act as a watchdog on human rights violations, promote the thought of human rights protection, create awareness, and also hold accountable to those who are found to be violating human rights. So this is broadly the mandate. Let me also add that approximately 100,000 complaints are received every year, and relief is provided in about 80 to 90,000 cases. So that is the broad spectrum information, but you can certainly ask more details.
Right. And I just want to put this in the context that I've also served as a Commissioner of Human Rights, as a member of the Human Rights Commission of New York City under Mayor Bloomberg. So I understand your perspective of how things are done in India as well. Let's talk about the protection of minorities, especially when we're talking of children, child labor, child exploitation, trafficking, women's rights, gender equality, as well as transgender rights.
Sure. I think, as I said earlier, the Constitution of India does not make any distinction between this class or that class.
You're also talking about social conditioning. I know the Constitution says that yet.
But I think the first step is always to look at the Constitution and what it says. It also means there is a legal protection. So far as the minorities in India are concerned, in fact, there are certain institutions specially created by them where they can be educated, for example. As you know, India being a secular country by constitution, there is no discrimination per se in terms of this religion or that religion. All the decisions have to be taken on merit. Despite that, there are occasions when there are conflicts. At times, there have been riots in India in the past. But these are, increasingly numbers are diminishing because everybody wants to take the democratic way and do well, because India offers abundant opportunities to everyone. So far as children's rights are concerned, there is a separate commission for children's protection of children's rights. Women's rights, there is a separate commission for the rights of tribals, rights of scheduled castes, and rights of minorities. There are separate commissions, and all these commissions, their chairpersons are the ex officio members of the National Human Rights Commission. So that way, it's an integrated structure. I must also add that we have 24 Human Rights Commission at the state level, and they also employ a large number of staff and commission. While the National Human Rights Commission have a nationwide jurisdiction, the state commissions have a statewide jurisdiction. So that is the main distinction. And together we perhaps handle more than 1 million plus complaints every year.
It's hard coming from a traditional society to decriminalize homosexuality. What are the challenges India faces, especially when we're talking about marriages?
India has decriminalized the homosexual relationship a few years back. There is a growing demand for recognition of the marriage, which has not happened. But this is a conversation that's going on in a society. A diverse society like India needs consensus, and I think we will have to watch for some time as to how this consensus develops. There are, as you know, just like in US, people who do not think that sanctifying gay relationships is a good thing. There are people who surely on the human rights principles feel that there should be no such restriction. So, we must agree that in a democracy, we should have dissent and discussion, discourse and dialogue, and then take it forward so that, whatever we do is our, thoughtful act in terms of legal provisions to be made. Right. So I would say that while we have not really reached the stage where gay marriages are allowed, the first stage of decriminalizing, has been done. Cohabitation is permitted in India. Many cohabitants have certain rights also in terms of their recognition and legal rights. So this is a work in progress, I would say, and we have perhaps some distance to go.
Let's move on to another topic. Let's talk about Indo-US relations. India and US are very strategic partners, especially when we're talking about geopolitics, as well as enhancing the relationship between the two countries vis-a-vis Indian diaspora as well.
Yeah, I think this is it is certainly a strategic partnership. It is a special partnership. It's partnership that tops, India's priorities. There are exchanges, as you know, only recently, US State Department person visited. We have continuously discussion on various national security issues. More than 30 working groups are there, from nuclear to space and to science and technology. Every aspect of the relationship has a special working group. So this is one relationship that is thriving, and added to that is the bonus of our diaspora. Almost 4 million Indians in the United States constitute a very important part of our relationship with the United States, and actually with the world, indeed.
How can the Indian diaspora play even a more significant, meaningful role? Does the government of India provide anything more than economic opportunities and investments for the Indian diaspora?
Well, certainly. One thing is that the Indians living abroad can be broadly categorized in two classes. One is those who still have Indian citizenship, and the other are the people who have accepted the relationship of a country where they reside. So now, in terms of investment and other rules, regulations, etc., there is no distinction. In fact, in terms of investment, ease of business, India stands quite high in the ranking. Much more is being done. Foreign investors, including Indian diaspora, are a focus of attention of the government. There are huge opportunities, as you know, whether from stock market to investment to collaborations, to technology, import. Across the spectrum, we have this economic and technological relationship going on, and major part is being borne by the Indian community in the United States. They are playing a very, very crucial, important role in this relationship. We have seen that earlier also during the civil nuclear cooperation, discussion that was held, a decade back. From there, we have come a long distance in terms of trust that has been built in the relationship, and this is something that is going to grow. There is no actually ceiling to which it can be restricted. It's just going to grow in coming years. USA will be a pillar, the most important pillar in India's overseas relationships.
Absolutely. You have been known as the passport man of India.
Yeah.
Share that time when you were known as the passport man of India.
Well, I think let me have a disclaimer before I start. Number one, it is not. I have not declared that I'm a passport man of India. Some people have called me so, and there is also a book written. Maybe this has happened, but if at all I'm to be called, I would say my staff, and particularly that adjective goes to Madam Sushma Swaraj. She was the passport person of India.
Right.
And I say it on record. I have said it a number of times. And if number two, it has to be, the credit has to go to Dr. Jaishankar, who was the foreign secretary that time. I was the secretary in the ministry. And he sort of, as well as Madam Sushma Swaraj as a minister, they fully supported passport reforms. So I was really at the practical level in terms of opening the new passport offices, establishing a cooperative relationship with the post offices in the country, because that way it was easier to reach out to every part of the country without hiring additional places. So the entire arrangement was made so quickly that in about 2.5 years' time, we were able to open about 400 extra offices. From a certain 70 plus, we have suddenly grown to a 500 plus passport offices in the country. But that is one aspect. The more important aspect about which nobody generally talks is the process. The process was made simple. The process was made accessible. The documentation was reduced from 16 to 3. Earlier, there were so many documents were being asked. Now, there is a choice also, and at the same time, the number has been reduced. Special provisions have been made for diverse persons, single mothers, single parents, children for orphanages, some sadhu sannyasis with special requirements, as well as things like notarizing affidavits. Those provisions have been made very simple. Now, self-attestation is what is emphasized. So, I've just given you some brief idea about the reforms.
Yeah.
And so, in effect, the process was made simple and effective. In effect, the number of passport outlets were opened throughout the countries. It saved people's money, it saved people's energy, and it saved people's time.
Right.
And all these, factors are very important in an individual's life.
Yeah.
You can also say that this has improved considerably the ease of doing business, situation in India. Yeah. Because the moment you have passport, you can renew it fast, yeah. You can change it, fast. You can ask for any changes, efficiently and in time. People are quite surprised that within a week they get passport delivered at their home if their documentation is correct. So this is in a sense a revolution.
Yeah. And
I think in that sense, so far as passport reforms are concerned, we are ahead of many countries. And then Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned about these reforms again and again and again as one ideal, revolution that has taken place in the country. It's a technology-based reform. It is a public-private partnership. It is a good public service delivery system, and it has won a number of awards of excellence.
Well, thanks to your tireless work with this great team of Mr. Jay Shankar and Sushma Saraji. And you're also known as the Gypsy. And I remember this documentary while you were the Consul General of India in New York. You sent me a text message saying, Renee, have a look at the trailer. So it was amazing that the documentary, I think it won an award as well in Delhi Film Festival.
Yes. Well, it's on the internet. Gypsy is kind of a metaphor for someone who doesn't have a permanent house. and instead, the whole universe or the whole world or the planet is, one's house, cottage, whatever you say, so, or tent. For a diplomat, most diplomats are actually gypsies from one country to another, and then to another, and then to another. But then you earn very rich experience. You meet people you would not otherwise meet. You see the cultures which, with whom you may not otherwise interact. You learn languages which you otherwise may not get exposed to. So language, culture, friends, and those enormous number of meetings of diverse people with diverse people is such a elating experience. And yet, at heart, one stays a gypsy. After every 3 years, you just move on, with your caravan or without your caravan.
But you acquire so much of knowledge from different cultures, like you mentioned. It's beautiful to know because the world is one. It's like a family. We all talk about that.
Absolutely.
Going from 3 years to 3 years, there's so much to learn. Your horizons get expanded. Besides being a career diplomat and serving on the Human Rights Commission of India, you are a very eminent author. You've written over 15 books.
Yes, true. Well, I think that's because I really started liking literature from an early age. We had a good tradition of reading in my house, though my father was not very highly literate. He had a habit of reading. He started the first village library in our village. I became part of it later on and tried to expand it. So, and in the school and colleges, reading was emphasized all the times. So we were privileged to have good teachers who, sort of inculcated this hobby in us. So from reading emerged the writing, and the exposure all over the world further added to the fuel of writing. So, my writing actually settled down, and the major contribution was made by the experiences that I earned throughout my diplomatic career, my travels, my interaction with different nationalities. So, and of course, I feel that I'm a poet at heart. So, poems also I write along with prose, travelogues, essays, a long narrative prose. These are some of my favorite forms of writing. And I got very good response from readers. My books are currently textbook in 2 universities in Maharashtra at graduation level. And I also have been teaching in number of universities as a visiting public, guest lecturer. Currently, I just retired from NHRC, and now I have also joined as Pune University as distinguished professor. So having multiple hats is such a joy, and my travel bug keeps me, keeps my travels on. So I do travel a lot within India and sometimes abroad also. So that will continue. Life is fun, and I always tell my friends that in one life, I have lived many lives.
You've kept in touch with your rural roots. How do you plan to enhance the quality of life of the rural population?
Quite early in my, service, I started also the concept of giving back, and subsequently after retirement, I have developed a movement called Movement of Positivity. The Movement of Positivity's larger goal is to try and see that every person is able to enjoy freedom, equality, and justice. At grassroots level, what it means is try to improve the livelihood of poor people, particularly women, rural women. Try and spread education as much as possible by providing scholarships and other educational material to children, particularly coming from lower class background. Also, try and see that the marginal farmers could be helped in improving their agriculture. Promote household cottage industry, particularly for women, so that they can earn extra money. Try and build some models of skill development. So there's a multiple kind of programs I have introduced. I have a fairly big team of NGOs and civil society organizations, almost about 200 plus. And we try and work in a very what should I say, structured manner, help each other, build solidarity, moral support, sometimes small financial support. Idea is really to build our society and empower the less privileged sections of society. It's working very well. Of course, one can further improve it and enlarge it, and that is what I'm planning henceforth. I also have annually one summit meeting of Movement of Positivity, generally in November, organized in Delhi, and generally some high office like former president or vice president, they generally come as chief guests. It happens every year in Delhi. So that's also kind of a culmination where we do brainstorm and take up some ideas for implementation in the next year.
So can Indians living overseas join this initiative, this great initiative, Movement of Positivity, which is everybody can live their life to their fullest potential?
Absolutely, we can. Anybody wanting to have a hospital built or school built, a small primary health center, a community center, any help to farmers in any manner, or expertise, making available expertise, we can really deploy these things very, very easily because of the large, contact-based team that we have at grassroots level, very easily. So certainly anybody interested can contact directly to me on my number, which is mobile number 9205623985, or my email, which is dmulay58@gmail.com. I repeat, dmulay58@gmail.com. I'll be very happy to reconnect in this very creative way with my American brothers and sisters.
That's great. And coming back to the Human Rights Commission, there are many police pending cases, and I think India is one of the countries that has the largest criminal and civil cases pending in the courts. Is there any way to remedy that situation?
Well, we have two kinds of custody deaths: police custody deaths and judicial custody deaths, which is the deaths that occur in jails, for example. You will be happy to know, Renee, that we have a mechanism to get a report in 48 hours of any custodial death anywhere in the country. And if the report doesn't come to us, it is a preliminary report about the death, its reason, time, etc., etc. And then subsequently, we have about 7 to 8 reports that have to come, which includes viscera report, medical initial health report, medical report, any other, if there is any forensic report, etc. And each custodial death is screened and examined by NHRC, whether it was a natural death or it was some kind of a torture, harassment, or any kind of ill treatment to the inmate or the prisoner. And in each case, wherever we find that there has been a neglect, there has been a torture, the police official, we recommend his or her suspension or appropriate action, and a report is required. Also, the victim or the next of kin of the victim is given compensation in each such cases where we realize that there is a violation of human rights. Now, our process is very different than normal court, whether civil or criminal courts. Our system is very fast. We leave no doubt about whether the cause of death is natural or otherwise. We have a very clear guideline available with us. Experts are available to us in case we need such help. We have panel doctors from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIMS, which is the #1 institute in whole of India. So that way, this particular aspect is very, very, and I can tell you that since inception in 1993, the Commission has awarded over 200 crores of compensation to the victims. And the compliance from the state government in all our awards is 98 to 99%. We do not close cases unless there is a final judgment and there is compliance done by the people concerned. So it's a fairly, I won't say it's a perfect system, because nowhere we can really monitor 24/7 all such dates. But at least we are very serious about the documentation and what it reflects in terms of what might have happened to the person in terms of the cause of death. Human rights is work in progress. Societies are becoming very complex. Technology is coming and new issues of human rights. For example, our focus now is human rights in business, human rights of gig workers, human rights of truck drivers. We are human rights in sports, yes, for example. So we are continuously rediscovering ourselves also and our responsibility in terms of protection of human rights.
Yeah, and be ahead of the curve while you're reinventing the wheel. So very important. Now, you have been very successful as a career diplomat, as an author, in your movement of positivity, as a member of the Human Rights Commission. Is there anything else that you would like to accomplish?
Well, I decided that movement of positivity is my mission in life. I will strive that every individual is able to exercise his right to freedom, equality, and justice. Also, one of the verticals in our movement of positivity is called Radio, and Radio is rescuing every distressed Indian overseas. We have been, for the last 7 years, we have been helping people who are distressed Indians overseas for whatever reason. There could be an accident, illness, or theft, or robbery, or sudden illness, death. We try to rescue those people and bring them back to India. We have so far done this for hundreds of people, and this is also one of the verticals. And I'm sure we have about 26 countries where we have advisors, honorary advisors. Prem Bhandari has been our advisor for Northeast in USA. So similarly, we have advisors who are very established people in those countries. They are all honorary advisors and they are ready to help 24/7. But we do require financial support, because it's not easy. We have found government of India's ICWF, the Community Welfare Fund, is very useful, but that is not adequate always, and it doesn't cover all the situations of distress. But we work closely with government, embassies particularly, and try and help our people. That's one thing that is directly related to diaspora, which is part of our movement of positivity.
How does one get in touch with these advisors for movement of positivity if somebody's having problems overseas?
We do not advertise our work too much, perhaps. We need a little bit more projection. But as I said, in US and particularly Northeast, Prem Bhandari is a very familiar name, and he has this gist for community work, particularly of this kind. He's been doing it even prior to our organizational setup. and he's very active. So, but anybody who can get in touch with me directly or Prem Bhandariji, he might be based in any country. We might be able to just be there right in time to help and rescue the person.
So people can contact you through email as well. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. We have a coordinator who does all the international coordination. And I generally put the person in touch with our coordinator, and I monitor these things whether it was Ukraine kind of operation of rescuing our students or people, in distress for various reasons anywhere in the world. We have been quite active. We have been we're not projected it much, but we have been quite active.
Lastly, Master Mulay, what is your vision for India?
Well, my vision is India is really, it becomes a Vishwaguru in the true sense of the term. And what I mean by that is India should evolve itself into such a model democracy that everybody in the world tries to emulate us. Mm-hmm. So we have to create such ecosystem in India that every individual is able to self-actualize himself or herself and also be an ideal global citizen. That is very precise my vision of India in the coming years. GDP, per capita income, etc. is all right. But I would rather like India to be known as an ideal country, ideal democracy that is both India and Indians are proud of it, as well as the entire world is proud of India. That kind of a India I would like to see.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Danesh from Mulay. It's always been a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope you'll be coming to US very soon.
Yeah, maybe in the month of August or September, I plan to come when it's not too cold or too hot.
Love to catch up with you in person then.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on this show, and please convey my best wishes to everyone, particularly our Indian brothers and sisters. Thank you very much.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Thank you very much. Namaste. And I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, stay positive.